a smooth stream going, and all is good. But once again, it is time for Fireball Friday. And yeah, Fireball is in the house, but I'll be honest, I'm about out. So what you see before you is a mess, but I've switched some stuff around. I've got some not really big news, but I think after all of the struggles of worrying about fishing with, well, if you remember right, last year that I was fishing, I kind of went away from it, but of fishing with single lifestyle and shorter 80 millimeter handle assemblies, and I just come across a bunch of these I could have picked up cheap. I think I like the longer ones because if you remember right, Crazy Lose Lady gave me this one, and thank you, Crazy Lose Lady. And I put the shorter 80 millimeter on there, and I discovered I don't like it. So I do still like these knobs, but I think I like this longer handle, just like what the Elite has. I don't know if I like it that long, but since it's carbon fiber, it matches everything, I'm going to leave it that long. But I definitely think that I'm liking not the 100 millimeters, that's 100. But at least 85 90, somewhere in there, probably 90 is what I really like. But like this one is pretty good. That comes stock on the new Steez. So yeah, I'm kind of out of the shorter handles, and I'm trying to talk myself out of keeping buying these bigger, crazy, long knobs because I don't know. I think I'm getting obsessed with them. You guys tell me what you think. I've heard some of you commenting like you think they look well. These look ridiculous, and the cheaper ones from AliExpress look not good. But anyway, the Gomexus ones, I think these look fine. These are the cheapest way. You can just buy the whole handle assembly, take these off, use your bearings, and power up any fishing reel that is, Abu Garcia, or not, sorry, Abu Garcia, you're out. Shimano or Daiwa. And you guys know that I have all pretty much Daiwa now, except for, that's only Shimano I have. I do have an Abu Garcia, Habo Elite, BFS, and then the Lingle. Brew Tank. Oh, I knew Brew Tank would be here. He misses all of the live streams except Fireball Friday. He's like, here I am. Excuse to get the old Fireball out. So the first thing I want to talk about, I kind of just got done tonight after I got off work. I came home, and in a matter of a few simple, I don't know, about an hour. If you remember right, the other set of these knobs, these are the stock ones. This whole handle assembly came like this, but then I had smoothed out these to get away with some of that more ball look. So I like this, but here's the thing. If you can look right here, see that? First of all, there's a little bit of a gap, and see how far the knob is pushed away from the handle. I always kind of, I mean, it's okay on this. You know, we're talking 100 millimeters. These stick out a little bit. This is a power. This is my swimbait reel, the hyper long cast Steez. So that's okay. But when I tried to put it on these shorter handles, I'm like, that just looks weird. So if you can see, I cheated it down. These were identical to these, and not only did I shave down the overall cork, but if you look, well, if it focus, how much closer I basically was able to draw that into here. So when I'm, reeling, it literally, I mean, you can grab and you can get a good hold, but if you're reeling like this, you're not any further out. You know what I mean? You've got more to hold on to, but you're reeling the same distance roughly away from your handle. If that makes sense. Same thing with these. See how far pushed in that is? So when you come in here and you grab and you start reeling, it's not like you're out here and throwing everything out of whack. So honestly, if possibility, I'll switch these around. I mean, you can still grab it pretty much the same. It just looks a little funky. but you kind of move the everything in. Basically one, well, here, let me show you, hang on. One bearing length in. So what you have to do is have the mindset to do it, and a Dremel tool or something. But I basically just took and shaved down about the length of what a bearing is, because on that one over here and all these other knobs, they have two bearings over here and one bearing out here. So if you had a Shimano, the was this high 10 or the Gomexus are shorter like the Daiwa, so they have two bearings or a spacer and a bearing and then a bearing out here, but they will fit, all these knobs will fit on Shimano by leaving one bearing out, putting a bearing here and a bearing here, and they fit all the way up. So what I did was I shaved it down. Now these will no longer fit a Shimano, but I don't have any Shimanos. So if this is something you were, you know, say you have a set of these, you could do it. So you basically just shave that down, take that bearing out, and then you will have to put it on this side. So what it is now, there's a bearing here, and then these two shims that would normally, I would actually put like in here to shim it away so it doesn't rub. I cut that to where it doesn't need any shims. So then it does require two shims out here to take up the slop in the plate. No, that wasn't a. Maybe the slightest. Oh, that's the real. That one might have just a hair movement, not much. But so, it kind of just that little bit of pulling it in, it looks cleaner there, in my opinion. You guys tell me what you think. It just looks like a better overall. Now, I almost left those off and brought that in a little bit, and the Abu Garcia end caps fit on these, and I almost did that to make it even smaller, but I think for now I may get another set and just do it and then see what it looks like. But I think that is all I need to do, and that's a good. Basically I turned my Zillion into the Zillion HD, because I don't know if the HDs are hardly any different. I don't know what they've changed internally to make it stronger than this reel. Have no idea what I'm even going to put this reel on. If you remember right, this reel was just had the smaller corks, and it was on my blade for chatterbaits. I know I should put these on this reel, right? I do have a handle in black coming to put on this and see if I think I just like the way that looks right now, like it is. The cork goes with the blade rod and it all matches good. The Zillion, it definitely lightened it up. It's a lot lighter reel than the Zillion, but honestly I don't know if it does for overall use. It doesn't do anything more than what this will, but for what, like how low you can throw, the spool is crazy light compared to this one, and it does have boost. So it definitely, have they made a better reel now with the like the Steez, this one, like Steez shallow spool, Steez limited shallow spool, the new Steez, they should be able to outdo this one on the lower end, but this one already not spooled all the way up can almost BFS, really, like the higher end of BFS. If you guys remember right, I did a shootout. Shortly after I first got it, we kind of just put it up against all my BFS reels, and it really can throw, I mean, it can throw 16th ounce shaky head like nobody's business. It can throw this, but that's like you're pushing it. This can actually throw that not too bad. 16th ounce crappie jig basically with a little bit of weight on it. Yeah, AliExpress, Brew Tank says that he ordered 88 millimeter handles, just need to order knobs. These knobs are giving me a fit. That's one thing, man, me and AliExpress. I bought that handle assembly. You can't get the 100mm setup like that. I can't find it anywhere. I think I can find the 110 or 120. And I don't think you can find any of them Gomexus silver handles anywhere. So that's why I kind of went with these. And I think they may even be made by the same place that's making them for Gomexus. Who knows? But I can find these in a lot of different colors, and only like $26.99 right now. But I found these, and they were, I want to say $14.99 or they $16.99. But right now, for sure, they're 14 something. Well, I put 2 more in my cart thing. I was going to order them, and it says they can't ship to my address. I'm like, dude, I've got 2 that I bought from you that you shipped to my address. Because how I'm finding your site is I went to, it showed these, and I clicked on, showed this in my already shipped and already, like cleared. And I clicked on it again and put 2 and put add, and it shows it added to my cart. And then I go to my cart, scroll down, and it says that it's unavailable to ship. I'm like, it shows you got enough in stock. You've shipped them to me before. I don't know if there was like an order limit I could only get to. I don't know what is up with that, but I'm going to keep trying because I can find them for $19. But that is almost ends up being $10 more than what I paid for. I don't know. I think if I come across them again, I'll probably buy a couple sets to whittle one down even smaller than this, because I like the idea of kind of stepping down in a few different sizes of these. But I may just wait, because I may end up with, because these I could actually shave down just a hair more. These look and feel pretty good in person. I don't know how they come across on camera. I didn't think I'd like that, but actually, I think if it was just smooth, it would maybe not look as, I don't know how it feels. Actually, I think this feels maybe a little better than if it was just round. And that's just on a regular Steez handle. I can't remember what bearings I put. I think these are just old used ones, but the tolerances are real good. Very smooth. So I did manage to order, I'm going to turn, I don't know which reel yet. I did order another silver one, a gold one, and then a black one to put on to see if I like it on this. So I ordered 3 more of the handles. I'm going to try to get one more set of the knobs. I don't even know if I'm going to use the knobs yet. Heck, I don't even know if I'm going to use these yet for sure. I haven't decided. Worst case scenario, I just put them off to the side, or put them on this one and put these off to the side, and for someday down the road when those do wear out, because cork isn't going to last forever. That's the only downside to cork. Of all this stuff, the materials, the cork will wear out before anything else. Oh, I still like that. So we've got our reels kind of coming. I need to hurry up and clean this mess up. I can't make myself buy any rod now that is not a a Destroyer P5. I was up at Rogers, looked at a lot of different ones, and they've got a lot of nice ones. I don't know. I mean, Brew Tank might, but you guys comment if you've seen the new Poison Adrenaline. I don't know if I like because they're like an orangish color now instead of the red highlights. They're like an orange highlight. I do like the real seat assembly stuff. They're kind of getting fancier, trying to, I think, look a little more, up there with the Megabass stuff. But I tell you what, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend that much money for a rod that's Shimano, but that Poison Ultima rod, because I've got a few up at Rogers, you put, and so we put they have these in stock too. So you put one of these on that Poison Ultima, and that smoky grayish, whatever that color is, it is about what color that Poison Ultima is. I mean, that combo is insane. But I can't, there's no way. I don't even like spending this 350. If you know, 350 is what I end up having in about these. But Rogers, I guess, would come with the Shimano warranty. Is it lifetime? I don't even remember now. Oh, it's getting busy around here. Hang on, time for a little. Get that little drink of FireBall cinnamon Diet Coke. Only 2 calories. But I have been thinking about, I could go one of two ways. I could just get only higher end stuff and then recommend to you guys, if you're on a budget, what is all, in all honesty, just as good equivalency other than the kind of lightweight, a little bit of sensitivity. Or I could get some of that stuff because I like the idea of playing with that stuff, using it a little bit, but I don't like the idea of spending the money and then knowing that I'm going to get rid of it. And no, I'm not giving it away. I've got rods over there now. Well, I've got this thing I still got to sell. I've been selling this for 2 years now. You can't give these things away. Well, I'm not giving it away, but I don't know. Somewhere around 200 plus whatever shipping costs would probably send it flying today or tomorrow or sometime soon. I've got 4 other reels that I'm really not even using at the moment. And I'm not using any of these reels. I can't even go fishing. There's still ice out on the water. Brutane's trying to talk me into that. You need that P5 dark sleeper. If that sucker was under 7 foot, I'd already worked you a deal, trading you out of it. But here's the thing. I've been looking at the P5s. There's 3 more that are. So, if you guys don't know, I'm not like dead set on it because like I've got the tequila back rack that's a 7 foot rod, but I don't like the idea of anything longer than that. And I've got horror stories to back up why out of fishing out of my little boat. 2 of my favorite rods ever were like 7 foot 2s. One was like a, not really a light, it wasn't really BFS, but it was a very light tip for kind of like what some of these solid tip ones are, but it was a custom rod. I'd met a guy here locally that was on tackle tour, and I didn't even realize it. Black something, I can't remember his name, but his username anyway on tackle tour. Found out he's here local, went and saw some of the stuff he had, and he was giving me deals because he didn't have to mess with shipping or none of that. So I bought these rods. The best one was a 7 foot 2. It was kind of just a custom, like I almost think it was a spinning rod that the guy had made into. That was back when we were all kind of. They really didn't even call it BFS. It was just kind of like finesse fishing with bait casting stuff. Excellent rod. Hanging out the back of the boat, going up around some old stump field, this and that. Next thing you know, I turn and it just, like I could watch it happening, but I couldn't stop the boat and I couldn't reach it fast enough, and it just toink and broke like that much tip because the 7 foot 2 didn't fit inside my boat all the way. So I'm like, that's it. I'm never buying a rod 7 foot or longer. I'm sticking to 6 foot 11, which that's why I got the poison adrenaline. 6 foot 11, that's my max until I needed a swim bait rod, and the tequila back rack is 7 foot. So, all that just to say that I've got the 3 mega bass rods I have right now. The Super Destroyer 6 foot 9, the Blade 6 foot 8, and then tequila back rack 7 foot. But they make 3 more in that lineup that are 6 foot 7. No, wait, sorry. Yeah, 6 foot 7, which is a stronger one than the 6 foot 9 Super Destroyer. That's the Tachyon shaft. Then they make the bait finesse one, which is a 6 foot 10. Then they make the Kasami, or I think it's Kasami, something 6 foot 11, 6'11". That I think's even a little lighter maybe than the bait finesse one. So I could technically get those 3, and I'd still be within that, because here's the other thing. On the low end side of that, other than for BFS stuff, I don't like going to 6 foot 6 or lower. Like once they get too short, especially if they're like a medium action, they're just that's too short for me. I know I'm kind of weird, but Yeah, I'm telling you guys, the OCD stuff, I just went, we went through my soft plastic stuff that I can't fit in the tackle box, looking at it, and I'm starting to pull some out. Like I'm like, nope, I'm going to find something. The first few times I go out fishing, I want to take everything with me and start weeding out some of the stuff because I got way too much soft plastics mainly. But baits in general. And this year is going to be kind of like probably what I should do in the first place. Just throw all this stuff out. You guys ever seen the hoarders deal where they throw, like, to clean out a closet? You ever seen those TikTok videos or whatever? Like, don't go in and try to pull this or that. Like, you'll end up leaving everything. And you've seen that thing where that guy's cleaning out the shed or the garage store thing, and he's like pulling the nut out, and then he starts talking about, well, I might need that, and he puts it back, so he never actually gets rid of anything. It's kind of like me with the tackle. So the best thing to do is throw it all out and figure out, like, will I throw it, first of all, with, in any given season kind of thing, or if it's just going to set and I'm just going to carry it around and never pull it out, don't put it back in. So just start kind of, almost in a sense, building back your arsenal with what you already have, but like starting fresh. And then what you necessarily don't need, sell it, get rid of it, whatever, which I kind of started doing. I've done it a couple times, but then I always end up filling it back up. But every one of these right here was in my tackle box at one time, and now it's back out, stuffed in here. But my tackle boxes are full, and I've added more tackle boxes. I got a problem. Yeah, I know, 7'2" brew tank, but that's 2 inches would probably get broke off first time I took it out, and then it wouldn't have the same action. Frank, what are you talking about? The Adrenas are the same rod. You mean the same blank? They just changed the... Oh, you're talking about this? This is going to be, this powerhouse right here is my, hopefully, I'm putting it on the blade for my chatterbaits. But I'm going to try to turn the blade into a more, like, so this is going to be, the plan is the blade is my main combo. So I'm going to throw I've already seen I really like it with chatterbaits. I'm not so much on spinnerbaits. I may give it another shot, but I really like that Super Destroyer for spinnerbait. So the Super Destroyer was going to be my jig rod. Problem is I always got a spinnerbait on it, and I'm too lazy to take the spinnerbait off, even though I use snaps, and switch back and forth to the jig. So the Tachyon shaft, what I've been reading up, watching videos and stuff on it, even though it's 6'7", it's supposed to be like the ultimate short, combat, flipping, like skipping it up under docks and like real close range, which kind of like the way I fish anyway, part of why I like shorter rods. The ultimate one. So, and I think I think it's a little more powerful than the Super Destroyer. I've never seen one in person, felt it, but I think it's going to have a little faster, which therefore almost will feel like a softer tip than the Super Destroyer, even though it's a power rating higher, but then it'll load up faster. So it should be better for bottom anyway. So that, I try to get the Tachyon shaft, turn that into my jig rod. Super Destroyer for spinnerbaits or just bigger chatterbaits that I feel that the blade may be lacking in, if any. And then, of course, I've got the Tequila back rack, which it was sort of designed around that thing too, but just in bigger baits of covering everything. But so like if I'm throwing the big blade, like this guy, I could throw it, or this, when I'm not throwing swim baits, I can throw the bigger, heavier jigs on the Tachyon shaft and use it in the Tequila back rack for that. And then the Poison Adrena, I can't make myself do it, but I'm going to keep it for when I'm trying to bomb, like whether it's a little bit bigger crankbait or definitely the rattle traps. So part of me almost ordered the Metanium DC, just so I could put that, and I had like basically Shimano Jackal and the Shimano Metanium DC on that. Because I did get out, I had them at Rogers. We get out the Metanium DC, and what did we put it on? Did we put it on the Poison Ultima, or maybe did I? I may have went. They actually have another 611 up there, but they still want like 379 or whatever I gave for it originally. And like Brew Tank picked up the one. I should have bought another one for 250, but I think I took it was one of the Poison Adrenas or the Poison Ultimate, but we put that Metanium on there. I'm like, man, it does feel good. I mean, it looks good. I think it was a Poison Adrenaline just like I have, because the black all matched up. I'm like, it definitely would look good on there. I could put this right here on it, because it'll fit right on with them little spacers right here. Right here. That baby right there. Oh man, a Daiwa handle on the Shimano. Now I'd actually get one of those probably a black, well, I can't remember what handle it's got on it. I think, no, I'd get one of these just like this, because it's got that it's black, but then right in here it's like got that chrome section on it. So I don't know, I'm still up in the air. I thought about it, like stick to Megabass, Daiwa, or go ahead and just get whatever floats your boat kind of thing, because I do like this reel. I'm still liking it. I haven't even fished it yet, so once I get out and actually start using it, I may come back cussing it, and you guys will be like, yeah, I knew you wouldn't like it. But if you guys remember right, we added the drag clicker. But my favorite reel, it may be a new one this season. It may be this guy. It just depends. I'm gonna have to get out, fish it first of all, also in cold weather, see if it feels colder or not. See how much this interferes with me. The fact I can't adjust that at all. If I start having some weird, like random backlashing kind of crap that I don't with any of the other boost stuff. But I guess I'd still have to say at this moment in time, the Zillions are still probably hard to beat. I just wish that finish wasn't starting to come off of it. No, I tell you what, I should, but I don't. I got it right here. U40 cork seal. Maybe it needs restirred. This stuff's easy to use. It's literally, you just like put it on. You really can't put too much on. You just coat it on, so you don't waste any. Don't put any more than you need to. It's pretty simple. Just brush it on with a smaller, like you use a little paintbrush, some kind of detail brush thing. Just put a coat on, and then wipe it down after it's dry, and you're sealed. I did it years back with I had a ducket rod and a couple other things. I did a little thing, tested it. It just does. It gives a cork a little different feel. But once you clean your cork up, that feel, it just gives it a little different feel. So I just have never really done it since then. I just usually go out like these. I just actually made, basically. I've shaped them, reshaped them. These were brand new anyway. Haven't even been fished, but I kind of reshaped those. And really, and then these have fished for about a season, and I just cleaned them back up. I just always, on my cork, I just get that, the fine, like wet or dry. And on my rods, I just take the rod up under the sink, and I just kind of lightly, just kind of give it that new look. Now, yes, eventually that'll wear them down a little faster, but a lot of people say use magic eraser and then use cork seal and magic eraser or whatever, but I don't have any super old. These corks already look kind of nasty right when I first ground them down. They had big pits. These were not very high quality. But like these, they've been through, I fished them and then re-ground them down this season, and plan on just clean them up here. Usually I go almost the whole season. I mean, I may only go like part of a season and then just get bored and, clean them all up again. I'm definitely the one, I don't like to just let my cork get all nasty and you can't even make it out, like half of it's darker than the rest and all that. Yeah, I don't now come think of it, we haven't had magic eraser stuff here at the house and I don't know how long. Used to get them just the little white squares. Oh, I got one that is crazy old handle. This handle, and you can tell it's been worn down and out. But here's a handle that I've had for 5 years, maybe longer. It was on something else. I put it on the Kying, but the rod it was on originally broke. I don't think it was a custom one. But this rod has been smoothed back down for, I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say this rod handle is over 10 years old and been abused for most of that time. So yeah, I should, and I probably will on these mega bass. The little knobs and stuff's not that big deal, but when you're dealing with like a new $500, used $300 rod, it's probably a good idea. Yeah. You knew before you even asked me, what are you going to throw on the new Steez? You knew when I mentioned it's going on the blade. The blade, I'm debating also about getting, kind of doing a shootout with, kind of reassuring myself if once I get out and start fishing and chatterbaits and stuff. Because I thought about buying the new 6'9" carbon light and trying it again. And then I thought about getting I don't want to get the 7'4". Everybody and their brothers selling chatterbait rods that are like 7'4", but I have thought about trying. There's a few shorter fiberglass like type rods, those medium heavies, and trying one of those out for chatterbaits because I don't think I've ever thrown a chatterbait on a fiberglass rod. But I swear those carbon light rods feel kind of fiberglassy. They feel not like a normal, nowhere near like a graphite rod, like a solid, graphite rod. Those carbon lights, every one of them, all of them that Matt had, I don't know if they got so much paint on them, but they just feel, they remind me of some of the, just the, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for. The movement, the feel, and how they bend, and the flex of them, like they've got some sort of fiberglassness to them or something. But that 6'9" carbon light is definitely, like I felt my hookup ratio and just how well they'd fling the 3/8 or a half ounce, with the trailer, and just the way they work. The carbon light reels, unfortunately, like when you can get the combo, the reels are horrible. I don't think I will ever buy another one of those reels. You can go back and watch footage when I first bought that one combo I bought, and that reel, like within a week, it was making the grinding this nastiest noise in the gears. I'm like, nah, this reel's junk. I mean, I don't know, other than one other Cast King and a couple cheap reels from AliExpress, I've never experienced a reel that bad. Like, I don't know who's making those carbon light reels, but hopefully they've gotten better now. Which one do you have? Did you have the one like I had, or the old one with the black wraps? I think the original 1.0 that everybody keeps saying, I've always heard were the best. I've never owned one of those. I had the Carbon Light 2.0s and love those, and that's what a lot of people say they're turned kind of yellow in the sun, the white. But they've revamped them The ones now at Bass Pro definitely have a different reel seat, and the handle is, I'd say it's more slimlined. It looks totally different. So I thought about getting one because if I also have the Tatula coming. And let me see right now. Hang on, let me count my rods. Just on my regular, like not light, not medium light, not so regular bass fishing rods. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rods is all I've got right now. So the 3 P5s, the Poison Adrena, the 13 Fishing, and then the Shimano X Pride. And right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute. So I've got 7 reels. So I've got another Tatula coming, so 8. So I'm actually 2 rods behind. I don't really need any. I don't really need anything else. I probably need to sell about half what I got and have the 4. If you guys remember right, I think I was settled in on about 4 combos. I was doing everything. The 3. I was basically taking, which was funny in a way. Where is it? I ended up taking this reel. I think it was this one. So yeah, this reel with the, I think it was with this, not this handle. This handle with cork knobs. So stock, but it had cork knobs. On the X Pride 6'10" medium, it was like along for the ride unless I decided to throw a jerk bait, because I just never really, even to the little 1/4 ounce chatterbaits or small stuff I could throw with the blade. I was kind of turning it into my smaller, it was just more, I had the Zillion on it, and it's a lighter rod, a little shorter. And so I had this and the X Pride just kind of doing ride-alongs, and the other 4 rods were the main ones that I was using for the spinnerbait, the chatterbait, rattle trap, and then when I was messing around with the big blade or, throwing some of the different swim baits. Because this you can throw on the blade, the big blade on the blade, but I feel like it's, you got to yank. I feel you almost have to yank too hard. Like, the idea of me, when I have combos out there, is like I can almost have the same feel of the cast. Like I cast about as hard with this and the lighter baits, and about as hard with Tequila Baccarat and a bigger bait, or the Poison Adrena with the 3/4 ounce rattle trap, and it zings it out there, and those spinner baits. But then like on the hook set too, I feel you don't have to get, so like once you're in a rhythm and you got that same kind of just the feel, kind of mechanics of it, or just kind of the same, and it kind of goes in, other than you're just going a little softer. Same thing with as you work your way down into your BFS stuff. If you've got one that's just way off and you got to like cast it hard, or one you got to be real soft and light with it, it's just, I like to just grab something and throw it, and grab this and throw it, and you're not like totally out of whack. It's kind of like if you're out there fishing with a 1/2 ounce bait on one that throws it super easy, then you're trying to cast something so light with the reel and rod combo that's not really for BFS, and how they'll just veer off all different ways. I kind of like to try to get, as I'm, especially when I'm fishing down the bank, and if somebody's with me, and I don't know why, how you always end up turning like this little race and competition, like who can cast this in front of the other, and let me try this, let me try that. And so when it all just feels good and it feels closely related to how the other one's casting is, makes a difference to me, in my opinion. Yeah, the 2.0. I guess I didn't have mine long enough. Only a full season, maybe. I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I need to utilize it because they're not. I have a feeling that they're here shortly. These are not going to be available anymore. Well, actually, not this one. The 7-to-1 is already like non-existent. I don't think you'll be able to get this anymore. It's never showed back up on. It was like the first round, Steve's Limited, and now the shallow Steve's Limited is still there, but I don't know how much longer it'll be. And I do have 2 of those. And they've got the Steve CT Limited that I think's coming out any day now, and it's like $495 on Digitaka, and then that won't be available anymore. But I don't think I like. Let's see if I had a. Thought I saw scuff. But I don't think I like that smaller, any of those smaller, this what they consider more like a 70 size. I think this one they've got down just about right. I think this is about the right, it's a little bit, I think it's a little bit bigger than what the 70s are. But the 70s really, all they need to do is they need to make it, give you more of a place to put your thumb for us with the bigger hands, and you palm up kind of high. I put my thumb on a 70 side like the Alphas or whatever, and then all of a sudden the T-wing is like I can feel it. So then I want to move my thumb here, and then next thing you know, I'm like, ah! So it's just one of those weird things. I know, I've got the OCD syndrome. And that's one of the reasons I really like this reel. It's low profile, kind of like the Metanium, but it's not, it's a flatter feel. The Metanium's curved down like that. Metanium, I like the Bantam. The Corrado BFS or the Bantam have like one of the best overall feels of any reel. The Corrado 70, I guess I probably could get one of those and see, mess with it, but the Bantam just is so heavy. My God, that reel, I tried to get used to the weight, but probably still one of the best. I think if they made that in a magnesium frame, they would actually have I think they'd have a good reel that would probably sell a bunch of. I would buy one. If they came out with the Bantam magnesium, wouldn't have to change a lot. Didn't go crazy changing away from was. Put a drag clicker on it. They don't come with the drag clicker or not. But a drag clicker, maybe in a, offer various spool size or whatever, I know I'd buy one. Metanium, I don't know. I'm still up in the air. Probably not. Probably stick with Daiwa. I got the Tatula. It kind of depends on how I like the Tatula. Once it gets here, once I put the drag clicker in it, get out on the water, see what I think it compares to, like to this. Because then it's like if for $220 you can have it decked out already with some like cool handles and knobs already on it, and you can go out and do everything other than the lightest stuff to like mess with buying any of that other stuff. Yeah, the Bantam's was like 225 grams, or it's heavy. Of course, this thing isn't far. Let's just weigh some reels real quick. I don't have a handle assembly off. Oh, I guess I could show you guys. Hang on. We'll do a little thing. So, this thing is like a heavy turd. Let me move some stuff around. I think I can get it all on here. Hang on. Okay, so. No, it's still completely, full of, it's braid, but still the spool is full of line, got this big 100mm power thing on it, and it's 215 grams. So I'm pretty sure it is still lighter than a stock Bantam. So if you wanted to put a power handle thing on the Bantam, and like you're going to really be getting up there in weight. So let's weigh. Did I weigh? So almost, yeah, all these have line on them, so we'll just consider they're ready to fish. Let's see what that weighs. 185 grams. So getting lighter. 185 for the Elite. This should be like a turd. Now that we added that. 194 grams. So we definitely added. Didn't we add some weight? I don't even know how to convert to the ounces. 194. So we basically got, which we knew, the aluminum reels are heavier. Okay, so let's see what Steez, which one? This one's probably the closest to stock. I'll turn this up, get it to fit. 175. So how much difference is that? 175. How much was this one? 195. 190. So 94, almost 95. 20 grams. So that's what, over half an. I mean, that's not horrible though for aluminum to magnesium, and the aluminum one has a bigger, more or less, handle assembly on it. But the new one, with just, I don't even think these knobs added any weight. They might have added a little. Weighs 169.5. So a little bigger knobs and line on it. I think it's supposed to weigh, isn't it supposed to weigh 150 grams? Grams are like, it doesn't take a lot to add grams to something. Let me see. Yeah, 169. What was this one again? Oh my God. I'm trying to get it to where it balances with the 185. So this is a pretty lightweight reel, and it's still like almost 15 grams heavier than that. Lightweight, you put that, and that blade is only like 97, 98 grams. I added some weight on the back to balance it, but like you're crazy light. You're like, the spool is pretty much as light as a BFS spool, and the rod and reel combo is about as light as some of these BFS setups. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Okay, so here's this accurate thing. You've got the stock handle assembly and then the big knobs, right? Did they add a ton of weight? Are they going to make it crazy heavier? So the stock Steez, we'll call it, handle assembly, is pretty light, 20.9 grams stock handle assembly. Power knobs, 33. So it adds, what, 13 grams? Let me see that again. Yeah, 20.9, almost 21, and 33.1. So about 12 grams. So, I mean, yeah, it adds some weight, but that's still pretty light. I don't have any old, I don't have any just standard handles with knobs on them kind of thing to just see what a cheaper handle assembly would weigh anyway. I'm sure this isn't much heavier than, well, let's look at this thing. These are just stuck on there, but not even end caps on it. Yeah, that's like 40, almost 45 grams, that bigger, thicker one off the Zillion. So yeah, still pretty light. Like you don't, like I mentioned before, you can hold a reel. And a lot of times you can tell, like if you can take the reel and hold it, and it just doesn't, it doesn't really affect the feel on if you're out fishing. It just feels like the thing's got weight to it. And that's one thing these, like this one, it doesn't either. Of course, this is a heavier reel aluminum, but it doesn't feel heavy. I think this one does. I think you can kind of, yeah, this one, the 100 millimeter, the big cranking one, like I can feel it wanting to, it's not horrible, but that's a lot on that end. You can definitely feel that. These, it's hard to tell that that's on there and just feeling it by hand. But that 100 millimeter one, you can tell. Oh, you going fishing in the morning? What are you throwing? You better be jerking some rattle traps. I'm still up in there. Let me get these back out. Oh, I gotta put something up. I got a mess. Speaking of rattle traps, I'm also up in there on, I think I may actually give these more of a try, just for the fact that they're still one of the cheaper rattle traps. Me and Charles already had luck with them, and I just got this feeling that the booyahs are going to be a thing of the past, or for sure the kind of how they're making them, the colors and all that, because you can't just go like to Bass Pro or on Tackle Warehouse and order the 3/4 ounce hard knocker. You can get the one knocking thing. So I just feel that either between the Quake from 6 cents or the Strike King Red Eye Shads, I need to make myself like something other than these crazy $15 ones. Also this season, or these something cheap from AliExpress, because I tried some of these other ones like this guy here that I probably should just throw in the trash. And there was also another white. There's a couple others I've tried from AliExpress, and some of them are like, yeah, but I just can't. I don't have that confidence. Like, yeah, that's gonna catch me more fish, kind of thing. But I think I need to find that with a different rattle trap of some sort that's not very expensive, because it gets pricey. You get out there and you're trying to drag rattle traps around and start getting hung up, and you can't get them unhung. I'll leave more rattle traps than anything. You got any of you guys watch the Intuitive Angler, Randy Blanken or whoever, the old dude? But he's probably my age. But no, he's got to be a little older than me, doesn't he? Sure he does. He's older than me. I've watched several of his videos here lately. I remember watching him a few years back, a couple different times and he definitely says what I've said before, and I probably would have went that way on chatterbaits, except I come across the cheap AliExpress ones. Now he does a whole different way than I do with chatterbaits, but he's the first one to say that. And I'll tell you a quick story, then I'll get back to chatterbaits. But today, the video I watched, he was talking about, and I've talked about this before in videos. The confidence is the thing that you need in that bait, more than any of the colors, any of the brands, or whatever. Like, if I take this out and it starts catching fish, it is this bait, because I have absolutely no confidence in this bait. But what you need when you're out fishing is, if you're more confident in it, you'll throw it longer. You're using it more, that just your percentages go up on what you could catch stuff. You kind of will start, maybe giving a little action here or there, or if you have learned to know how to, crank or whatever. But once the confidence just increases the fish you're going to catch with these baits. And I've talked about that before, like me with the black and blue with the gold blade chatterbait. I just have so much confidence that I'll make that thing catch fish, and I probably should go to something else. I sometimes take it to the extreme on certain things, but that's one of the keys. But I forget, last year, the year before, I was watching one of his videos. Hang on. And he always stops to take a little break, get a drink, talk to, is it somebody named, is it Kim? I don't know who that is, but he was talking about the fact that he catches more fish on a regular Z-Man chatterbait than he does the jackhammer. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of agree to a certain extent. Let me get the chatterbaits. We took a turn for the worse now. FireBall Friday is turned into Chatterbait Charlie's Corner or something. So we might as well dive into this for those of you new to the channel, because half of you I don't recognize your names, the other half I do. Brew Tank, he can't go and he can't. He's like, you guys ever watch that movie, What About Bob? Bill Murray, I started to say Dan Aykroyd, but no, Bill Murray and the Jaws dude, the Close Encounters, Richard Dreyfuss. So anyway, What About Bob kind of thing, can't get rid of him. The 7 combos, what baits are on? Hang on, time out. We're going to get into chatterbaits here. Taking the hard knocker. So you take 7 combos. What baits are on them typically? Really, I don't take. Well, yeah, sometimes I do take. I'm going out, and if it's cold, that's when I'm using a jerk bait. If anything over 55 degrees, I may occasionally use a jerk bait, or if somebody says they're on a jerk bait bite, but I'm probably gonna try other stuff first. But if it cold, like if I was going tomorrow, I would have a jerk bait on, a Vision 110 plus 1 Junior in LG bone is probably what I'd start with, and then I'd go from there. I don't care what color. I just start with there. I don't care what the water looked like, what everything was like. If I could throw it, I'd throw it. I'd throw a red rattle trap, preferably the Booyah Howard Knocker, and I would be bouncing it off the bottom in deeper areas or if I saw any sign of fish. And then the jerk bait across the top of that, I would be throwing some sort of jig, not a bladed jig, not a chatterbait. I would definitely be throwing a jig with, I don't know, wouldn't really matter what trailer. But I'll be honest, I just like this trailer on everything, on jigs, on chatterbaits. It's if you kind of bounce it up and down, you can what they call stroke a jig or just bounce it up and down. It's going to have a little bit of a swim to it, but yet it can be dragged and it doesn't have a lot of movement, so it's almost, and it's not a horrible profile. But or a probably something like this or the Reaction Innovations, I would have just a sweet beaver on it. I would try both. Just a sweet beaver, or I would have their, not the kinky beaver, but the other one. I always forget the name of that. Hang on. I gotta find the name of that bait. I was trying to remember it in the video the other day. Hang on. Because there's just times when these freaking things work. Now, this cold, it probably won't. Here they are. Spicy beaver. These things, what I found is on, like, whether it's on the back of a jig or just Texas rig, these or just a regular sweet beaver, kind of that just profile but no action, or these just kicking. Like the fish want one or the other at any given time. This is a good color too, sprayed grass, but that's what I'd probably have on the back of a jig. And then I would definitely have, me, I would have the shaky head, and I'd have either worm. I'd have the zinkers or just the finesse worms, and I'd also be fishing that slow. And then you can't go wrong, even though people don't really talk about them, I guess, in winter, with having a TRD available to, I would start big and fast, loud and proud, and then I would slow down until I just could be begging for a bite. It's basically how I like to start fishing no matter what. When that water's cold, like, you might as well, like, I guess what I don't mess with. Now, you can also do the cranks, too. Is that crazy, if you remember right, I was out, the little cranks, the little square bills up in shallow, because fish will be shallow, even though the water's cold. If you think they may be, the wind's blowing, like it was windy today. So if I would have been out on the water today, could have stood the cold, the side that the wind's just blowing in on, it could vary, but like, especially if there's rock on a rock bank kind of thing, I would have been hitting that with something like this, or 1.5, 2, whatever size square bill you like. But I would have been like doing that kind of burn, pause stuff with some sort of square bill. Is also just worth a try, but I like pretty much abandon top water when it's this cold. So there's no point in trying it. But you'd be surprised in how shallow water. I want to say it was a TRD. It was a real windy day, and I tell the story every year. But Noah like tore me up. He was catching little bass, but man, when you can go out, probably like what you're going to be in tomorrow, 40 to 50 degree day, and the water is just like literally ice cold. It's just melted, or there may even be spots where there is ice or just was ice a day or two before, and just catch like 7 or 8 bass cast after cast. It was I don't remember exactly what color he even had on, but it was probably that freaking bubble gum one. TRD just casting out and reeling it back slow. I've always said when I hand a kid that, now he had a bait caster. He was using my. Actually, I got the rod, guys. I got the rod. I don't have the reel anymore. He was using this rod I always talk about that I had put the handle on. The Mega Bass rod, but I know it gets worse. It's a Abu Garcia old Gold Max. It used to be 6'8". I don't know if you can even read that. But that rod right there is a beast of a rod. Old. It just flat out is one of those for little baits. You just throw it, and when something hits it, it's almost like an automatic. You have such a good chance of getting them in, whether you're a kid, a beginner, or whatever. Is why I love this rod. I just stuck it together and have had it forever. And it's got a crazy, almost like the Teton, crazy full flex fiberglassy type deal. And I had I think it was a Megabass Zonda Rosso or whatever on it. So yeah, don't be afraid to throw any soft plastic. Really, dragging something across the bottom, whether it's a jig, a soft plastic. I would probably be throwing one of these little finesse jigs if it was me. Something like that is probably what I would be throwing. Just depends on what your color is like, what the water. I don't even know what it's going to be for sure tomorrow where you're at. I'd be probably throwing something like that, just dragging it. You can try all different stuff, but I would start kind of faster, trying to cover water with different stuff, and then the burn pause works for. Here's what I would also try. I know you can get the actual if you're going in deep water. What them tactical bassing boys like to do, but I know what else I was going to talk about. Talking about the booyah baits. Let me finish this. I like these little dudes. They're kind of like or you could do the rock crawlers. Like this dude, color this. Sometimes these what we call peanut butter and jelly. Burning these things at this time of year, like it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna kick. I don't know what it's gonna do tomorrow. Like I said, you got to see what the fish are up to, but that's old original wiggle wart. But these can catch, not necessarily big ones, but if there's fish around. But top three would definitely be a rattle trap, bouncing it, some kind of a jig like those two I just showed you, or a jerk bait. If it was me, that's kind of what I'd be going around starting with, and then I would try other stuff to just figure out what they wanted. Now, if you're throwing big stuff, I don't throw it. I need to buy one. I need to buy that micro A-rig, but if you have an A-rig, ability to throw an A-rig, that's also what you would probably start with too. I've got one, this one right here. I've got one. I think I've had one or two here or there years. I got this funky one Matt gave me. And I think I threw it once or twice, but I'm just not a fan of the A-rig. So yeah, see this thing? You got how's this thing? So you got I've taken it, you'll throw it like this. This one in the back. You've got the little I think here in Missouri, this is what you're allowed. You can have the 3 hooks kind of thing. And it's been sitting in my box for it's actually sitting on the outside of the box, just getting dirty and nasty every time it's out for probably all of last season. I don't think I even messed with trying to throw it. But it's still really good to go. I just need to put some new baits on it. Those are kind of faded. I could probably leave those little top ones just there, kind of just dummy up there to give the look of there's more fish in the things. But yeah, if you got one of these brew tank, throw it. Like if I was going, I would probably go ahead and be throwing this just to try it. But usually, me and Charles, when we go, we've already got a plan, an idea to go hit like something we've already done kind of deal. Like we would go, say if we went to that place, like we would know to go right back to that place to where we found them on the rattle traps, and then we would just start there, basically, like try to repeat, something you've done. And that's what you can also do. Like, I don't know if you've, where you're going, if you've never fished it, you're lost. But if you, remember fishing where you're going, even if it was 10 years ago and you caught them in cold weather in a certain spot, go hit that place and see what, see if there's, it could be working the same way. Never hurts to try it. Now the zinkers works year round. Chatterbaits is the only downside to chatterbaits, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. The only downside to chatterbaits, they do not. I don't care what anybody says. They do not work year round. And also, I'd argue they're only good to a certain depth. I know a lot of guys, we can go with the ounce and a half, and man, you can drag it. I'm like, dude, in my opinion, there's so many other better ways to catch them than a chatterbait. Once you get out of that. And I guess technically, yes, if the grass is still growing, however far down it grows, technically, yes, you can. But man, it takes so much to mess with that. I'd much rather actually try to run a rattle trap through deeper grass and rip it out rather than a chatterbait. Because once you get that heavy to have a chatterbait work, kind of like what a rattle trap would that deep, you're probably going to be more better off to have a rattle trap. What is this? Limey. Would you make them? Oh, thank you. I'm almost done. Nessa made dinner. All right, guys. So anyway, I don't think that the rattle trap's good for deep. So what was I talking about with the rattle traps? Oh, no. I remember now. Look at that, dude. I threw it in the box. I'm like, I'm going to fish it again. I'd robbed the blade. I don't know what I'd done. I think this had a gold blade, and I robbed it to put on something else. I'm like, I might as well just put a blade back on it. The hook is still sharp. It can still catch a fish. Oh, Randy Blanc. I don't know how to say his last name. But he was saying that he has more confidence, and we talked about how big a deal confidence is in just a regular. And I thought I had more than the 2 or 3 I have. I used to have several more in here. And just the old, Z-Man original, because it's got, for one, the reason I say is it's got a bigger hook. So, and you guys know my theory, hopefully you know my theory behind the chatterbaits and why everybody struggles, and they all use these fiberglass rods, and they all do this, all that, and this stuff. So we know that the chatterbait, Tactical Bass, and Matt Allen talks about how it starts up so fast. Is why the jackhammer's like boom, just kicks in. There's definitely that, and they have the patent on it. And Thunder Cricket, Strike King must have paid him a little money to order to almost kind of directly copy it. And we know China didn't pay him nothing for the knockoffs, but there's something to it. Could be the fact of just the lead head, the big size of hook, that he thinks that he just has more luck with the original. Now, he kind of ties his own, not really ties. He uses that band deal. So he stretches the band, puts some of the skirt material, like for your jigs, in it, and then makes his own colors and whatever, and basically just uses 3. But I think I always had better luck on hookups even, because I knew I was going to yank hard, and I had a bigger gaff of a hook. And so the thing that I think we've all had to evolve into, that especially fishes chatterbaits or knockoff versions, or most of the chatterbaits out, because I think the Z-Man original may be the only one that stuck with that huge honking, and there's probably a couple others that have something similar. So that Z-Man original, yes, the blade rises up higher than it, but it's not quite to the how low these set. And I've talked about it before, that fish, when it inhales, it usually, fish kind of not only do they just open their mouth and come up, they're kind of like, so they're pulling in water and pushing it through their gills. So if it comes in and it's coming fast, it unless you are like reeling so much faster that it's not going to let this thing, it's probably going to come in and collapse that blade. So if you instant quick, yank, it's going to pop that mouth and give it more of a, and you're going to lose that fish. You know, stiffer the line, stiffer the rod, and the faster you yank, the more chance of missing the fish because it's going to pop up and you might barely skin hook it, but it's not getting a good hook set. So, what I've always said and what I try to do is when I feel that bite, because if a rod will load more, what will happen is that fish will get it and he'll stop or go to turn. And the bending of the rod, especially fiberglass. So, what it's doing is helping you. The bending is basically doing this. It's like slow pulling it to where if it's a too stiff a rod, you've got like a death grip. You're like, oh, and it kind of can do a little mini pop before you even set the hook. But for me is to let when I feel the bite is I'm kind of like pulling. I want to almost like I'm trying to weigh the fish. I want to pull to see, like you can almost take your time and pull to see if is it a big one or a dink, and then set the hook. And I think that's what you're doing. You're basically just getting that thing to pull back out of its mouth. Now it's not 100%, but I think that if you give that, like, you pull, and then as you're pulling, you just increase the pull. You don't, you definitely don't do a Gerald Swindle, slack line hook set deal like you're on a jig or none of that stuff. And I think you helps. But as far as this bait, I've said it from the get-go. When the jackhammers first come out, and I even bought jackhammers, and I did, you can go back and look, I'm like, comparing the jackhammer to the Z-Man original, and I'm like, dude, guys, I'm telling you, I can't really feel, because I did, everybody, oh, you can, it does this and that, and it thumps so much harder and so much faster. I'm like, dude, I don't get it. I think you guys have bought into the hype on it, because the Z-Man original feels the same to me, and it still does. These knockoffs, there's a few... Somewhere I've got a few of the original. Somewhere I got an original one. I don't know where it's at. I don't think it's in here now. Oh, here it is. Yeah, see that you can tell by they still got the mark half-ounce Be Height Delight. That's an OG original one. They do last. They're awesome baits. They work very good, but the cost difference is still one of those things. Like, they got the Evo out now, which is basically the same thing, except they did away with the Evergreen name, and they can sell them for like $5 cheaper, but they're still whatever. The Z-Man original, and the fact that you can just take, not even this one, because this is a custom, or so it's been tied on, but I always like the fact that I could get out, like, look at how many different ones I have here now. Look at all these different baits. Like this color, several, half and 3/8 ounce. You can literally, if you go back old school, you can get a black or, a dark head, a white head, and a half and 3/8, and then just have a whole bunch of skirts and just switch. Like, you literally, you can have a few different color if you want, like a dark one with the gold blade, a light one with the gold blade, and then a regular blade or black blade, or you can have a Sharpie and just paint the blade black or whatever. You don't need near each individual bait if you're willing to slide your own skirt on and off. The only downside to that is, in my opinion, for them to hunt the right way, that skirting material, you might need to have a couple, like your tried and true ones, like you're like, I know this one, works like this, and then so you go ahead and tie on that skirt on it to where it lays, even a little more. It doesn't have quite near the resistance. Or you could also do it with the rubber band if you just peel some out, like kind of thin it out and trim it up to where there's less resistance in the water to help it hunt around more. And there's different tricks to that. I'm not going to turn this into a true crazy deep dive on chatterbaits, but yeah, if you've got an A-rig, I would take it. Oh, it's going to be 15 miles an hour tomorrow. Yeah, what you're going to do, unfortunately, you're going to need to find now. You can try to find places to where you're fishing on the windy side, but you're a little out of the, you know what I mean? Kind of be out of the wind. But I think it's supposed to be, what, 45 or 50?
Did she bring you a burrito?
Yeah, she brought me one, but I haven't. I'm still doing live stream. Oh, I'll try it. She didn't like the food she made last night. So anyway, yep, an hour 15 minutes. I think I'm at my limit. Let me take a little FireBall break and see if I want to keep going.
You can find me in the club.
You ain't finding me in no club. Well, depends on what kind of club we're talking about. So yeah, now, okay, before I get out of here, I will talk about that. The Randy talked about the fact that he thinks that the blade vibrates differently. And I was going to just let you know in case you haven't watched any of his videos or just like, well, how does he know? Way more experience than me, but basically this is the exact same way that I know. I went out and I fished them. I've put literally the Z-Man original versus the jackhammer, and I've tried other baits over the years of different chatterbait type copies or different stuff. And I think they're about even. I don't think that this has got more drawing power than a jackhammer does more than a thunder cricket, than a thunder cricket does more than these AliExpress knockoffs. I think the old Z-Man original, just like I talked about, the able to change the skirts and all that material around, and the fact that the hook's bigger, is still the best, like, affordable option, and it is hard to beat the old Z-Man originals. Now, he was going out, and instead of technically putting him head to head like I've done in several videos, he was going out pre-fishing with just cheap ones, right? Just throw the cheap ones, you get hung up, you break them, you lose them, or whatever, and then he got on a real good bite, and then he's done it several times. This is him. I don't know. He could be a Democrat. He could be lying to me, but he said that he, would get on a bite, and then so the next day it's like, well, if I'm getting 15, 20 bites on this chatterbait, I'll throw the jackhammer. And then he said he just always noticed, like, it felt like to him his bites were not as much as with the original. So then he would go back to that one. And so just over, a period of fishing, basically having both on the boat, he just come to the conclusion that, he likes that one better. Now, there's also times, just like I mentioned, if you're using a big old band and you got a lot of skirt in there and it's rising it up, and then you go to a jackhammer, or just like now they've got the stealth blade and the this and that, each one could be a slightly advantage over the other. But if you've got a Z-Man original, Mini Max, even all the way up to this big blade, or any of these, the knockoffs or anything that comes close, but you need to have it with that same kind of style head and hits there. The only other bait that I sort of had confidence in, if you guys remember, and I fished it and it's on the channel, me fishing it, Omega Custom Tackle made theirs, and I think I even still have it. Where is it? Here it is. I don't have the jig. I don't have their actual bait, but I have what they have. Omega Custom Tackle, and I think they still make them. They came out with this thing on their regular head, so there's no way this is going to contact that. But sometimes this would let it dart around, and if you remember right, they had the shell cracker color. Trey Harple, custom painted, just put out so many. You couldn't get all the time. Still don't think you can right now. I'll be honest, I would probably have a couple right now if I could just go and get them, but like I lost the other one, and I went to look and they're out of stock. I'm like, I'll go on another way kind of thing, right? But I did take this one off to put on here to try it. But ball bearing, swivel, I don't know if there's a reason why they got those, that just maybe keep the blade from getting a spot where it could work its way off. But that's the only other kind of way I've seen, but any really one can work. These, I think, could just be an opportunity because they're so, well, not necessarily this one. I put that gold blade on it, but let me get this one. these little ones, or any of them that kind of run real shallow, these kind of run like crazy shallow. They got this big blade and little lightweight, and these are like hard to try to let them get down. As soon as you start cranking them, they just kind of want to rise up, which in very, very shallow water I see is could be a good thing, and that's why I kind of just I still have them. That's one of the only reasons. Oh, and I still have, oh my god, I buried, look at all this stuff I got. I still have these slobber knocker knockoffs that in colder water, I don't know if you have any of these, Brew Tank. I'm gonna probably try that again. They're I think a little more subtle, and I know that one day in cold water I did catch a few fish on these, but I want to say the original slobber knocker actually has more rotation than what this does. But this should be doing close to the same thing, right? I mean, it's not a chatterbait, but it is a variant of something that could have its time and place. So I just bought them. They're the knockoffs. I'm like, not really going to throw them away. And then this one, if I get in the nastiest of water, coleslaw or whatever one, that one's probably worth throwing. I need to remember they're in there. I totally spaced them off until it just dawned on me. I'm like, oh, there's some in there. So I'm out of here. Yeah, there was a time when I had like 2 or 3 jerk baits, 4 to 5 rattle traps. Or no, actually, there was a time when I had 1 rattle trap, and I still got it. But it's out. It's out of the box. I need to get rid of it. There was a time when I had... Actually, you know what? There was a time when I had 1 jerk bait, 1 rattle trap, and a bunch of chatterbaits. I shit you not. I had, and I still got a lot of it. Hang on. Now I had some other baits, but just off the top of my head, because I just remembered it looking in my box one day. I had this exact rattle trap came with the red hooks. It was the bleeding hearts here. I don't know. It had like the hearts on the side. That rattle trap has caught a ton of fish. I had the hang on. So if I want to try rattle trap and see if they're hitting on rattle trap, I threw that, and if they were, I caught them. If they weren't, I didn't fish anything else. And then I had that mega bass, and then I had oh my god. Now I did have some small, I had a bunch of little cranks, but that's the Digit was in there on that like originally. Like I just had a bunch of little small bass colored cranks that I just would throw if they weren't hitting any of the bigger stuff. So I had a bunch of chatterbaits, the Z-Man Originals, because they were cheap. And then I had, so I had a few higher end baits, but not a lot. I had that dude. Didn't have this. What else did I have? Oh shoot. Oh, I had a few like square billy type, but I had several. I had chatterbaits. Like when I first come out, this is kind of some of the stuff that I had. Now before the chatterbait, I had some different spinner baits. I had the Man's Baby -1s. I had a bunch of those. I had a bunch. I was big into worm, like Texas rigging. So I didn't, and like spinnerbait. So I throw a spinnerbait and some of this other like just oddball stuff. And then if I felt like, well, they're not hitting, you know, a spinnerbait, because honestly, if half-ounce spinnerbait is actually still a very good bait just to be thrown around. 3/8 half-ounce spinnerbaits, it's hard to beat on any given time. So anyway, I've had some of these just only singles, because if they were hitting it, man, they just would tear it up. And so yeah. So anyway, I need to get out of here. I gotta eat a burrito, and I'm gone. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Probably I've got several things coming from AliExpress. I think everything else has made it from anywhere else I ordered stuff from. And wish me luck on my search for whatever else I want to buy before we get out and go fishing. And good luck, Brew Tank. Let me know how you do. See you guys later.